Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel. It's just time for me to run the numbers for today's COVID-19 countries I've selected. The reports you'll see today are, and every day, are for the U.S., of course, for Spain, which I happen to love the country of Spain. Spent a couple months there the last 2 years. Also for Pakistan, that's kind of a long story. And of course for the nation of Israel, the nation that God gave to the Jews over 5,000 years ago. Okay, so here's Spain's battle with COVID-19. Change this date to here. Let's just make sure there's no. Okay, let's just load our data. You can see currently Spain is averaging 1,015 deaths per day. That's pretty steep for I think for a country the size of Spain. So now let's calculate a couple moving averages. We're only pulling out the data. We're pulling out the data from the beginning of the first spike. That was April. Let's do a plot of some daily numbers here. As you can see, we got continuing spike upward. Oh, it does appear that the trend has turned around. Of course, this is really a little bit confusing because there is so much volatility. The trend certainly seems to be maybe trending down now. Possibly you had this huge spike here, followed by this pattern right there. So that's not particularly good, but maybe there is a little bit of hope. And you can see here, this is the real concern. Deaths are trending upward and spiking upward. You can tell that by the blue moving average line. Okay, let's take a look at this now. This is the information from the current spike. Okay, this is greetings to my friends on Twitch. This is Dave McCaribou Data Science channel on YouTube. I'm just running my data reports to give you an idea of exactly what is going on. If you happen to have a particular country that interests you, just drop me just post something in the chat or post something to my YouTube channel. I'll see what I can help you out with. So anyway, so this is the current spike in cases. You can see there is once again you can see the volatility, but the what you can see here, it appears that there was a drop here. We dropped from here to here. We don't see that down into here. So maybe what we're seeing is this little drop right here. Hopefully this is the beginning of a swift decline in cases down to zero, because currently they're averaging 5 to 10,000 cases per day. Let's take a look at the deaths now. You can see once again the deaths are continuing to trend upward. You got these spikes here, these four big spikes here, but once again we're seeing a little bit of a decline here. It remains to be seen if this is a trend. We can certainly hope and pray that it's a trend and not just that one day. A lot of times weekly numbers can show a little bit more than the monthly numbers. You can see this certainly summarizes the situation well for Spain. And so let's see something here. It is climbing up here. It is climbing steadily. Cases to continue to climb now. You can see a little bit. The deaths are starting to decline. This is 2,000. This is 1,000. maybe 750 so far this week. That's so far this week, and it's already surpassed last week's numbers. Let's take a look at monthly case index. You can see, unfortunately, Spain's September cases have actually passed August cases. But and it also appears that the September deaths have already passed the August death totals for August. So that takes care of Spain for us. We just do one more thing. Let's run a report from the top, and then we'll upload it to the GitHub repository. I'm going to do something a little different here on YouTube today. I'm actually going to record all the numbers in a single report, and that'll lower my video count before, but I'll get by. So we got Camino. Next we come to Israel, right? Make sure of that. Yes. Israel, like Spain, has been struggling, particularly with cases. Of course, the thing is, it's a relatively small country. It's a little bit harder to actually judge the numbers a little bit. Change this to the 21st. Okay, so let's come back up here. You know the drill. Load libraries. Load data from an SQLite database. Currently, Israel is averaging about 717 cases per day, and between 1.7 and 5 deaths per day. Which, how many countries would love to be able to have those numbers? Certainly, the U.S. would. Okay, let's begin here. Begin with the cases, the daily cases. You can see that the trend continues to be up, even up into here. Even though there's a slight drop here, there's a pretty good chance, unfortunately, that this climb will reduce. The increase in cases will resume tomorrow. What about the daily deaths? Well, again, we throw out this spike here, and you can see that even deaths are spiked up here up to around 30. Although from this point here, last week or so, it's averaged 10 to 20. Okay, let's take a look at. I thought I already did that. Maybe I didn't. Okay, no, I guess I didn't. All right. Okay, here's the current spike, which began in June, continued climbing up, a little bit of dip here, but it remains to be seen what's going to be happening as far as cases. You get a better picture of the cases right here. The cases are continuing to trend upward. Some volatility here, but continue to trim upward. Let's take a look at the weekly cases. You can see here the spike upward for the last 4 weeks. This is the current week. We have to hope and pray again that God will intervene on behalf of Israel and bring the COVID-19 virus to an end in Israel. Deaths, as you can see, last few weeks have been between, say, 75 and 125. With 1 day in deaths, we're already halfway above the We're already halfway to what we had last week, so this is not good. Let's take a look at monthly cases. Monthly cases, you can see September has already passed August and July even. So this is not good. Deaths, unfortunately, stand a pretty good job of catching, even passing August in terms of total deaths. Because you can see with like maybe 10 days to go, uh, September deaths are already between about 325. So we need to. So that takes care of Israel's COVID-19 report. Not a good report. What's unfortunately, its cases and deaths both increasing. Let's update this report here now. Okay. What's next in our hit parade? We have Israel, Ohio, my home state. Of course, Ohio is the home of the Ohio State University and the Ohio State Buckeyes football team, and of course, the best damn band in the land, Ohio State Marching Band. So let's just fire this baby up here now. Let's grab some data. Okay, here you go. You can see we had a spike back in July, spike in April, spike in July. Numbers fell here for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. The trend is good news is the trend is continued even with the volatility. The numbers are still trending downward. Uh, so these are cases that the cases are averaging between say 800 and maybe 1,500 or something like that, whatever in here. But there does appear to be a downward trend because this is higher than this last peak down here. Okay, so that's cases for Ohio. Let's look at deaths for Ohio. Well, the story seems to remain the same. If you have this bit of odd spike here for some reason or other, uh, but overall, the 14-day moving average is showing that it's really traveling within a particular range. Anywhere from say 10 up to 40, and we can see a drop back down here. So we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Let's do some weekly numbers now. You can see deaths are still really deaths by week are staying below 100, around 150 deaths per week for the state of Ohio. Cases are between 6 and 8,000. It looks like here. All right. Let's take a look at some weekly numbers. I'm sorry, monthly numbers. You can see that July was the biggest month in terms of total cases, followed by September. There is a chance, an outside chance, that Ohio may not catch their August numbers. Maybe they'll stay below the August numbers. Deaths, on the other hand, Uh, what? 200 more deaths, and they'll catch the September deaths. There is a chance that September cases will not catch August cases. We need to keep this in prayers. And I'm actually going to skip this section here and come directly down here to the. So this is the for the last 7 days. So last week, this is the counties in Ohio that had the 5 highest total cases for the week. See, I can see Franklin there. Pretty tight race for second and third and fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could get deaths, and this is saying deaths for the last 7 days were 1 in this country, in these counties. Well, let's take a look at the current state here. You can see that there was this long decline, some fluctuation, nonetheless a long decline, and now it appears to be, you had a spike here, then we had a much lower spike here, so that's really kind of, here are cases again for Franklin County by week, 100 to 300 on the average. You can see some volatility here. So that takes care of of uh, of U.S. County of Ohio. So you can see the Franklin County in the U.S. state of Ohio is still a bit iffy, still a bit struggling. So let's move on to our. Let's upload this report. That takes care of Ohio reports. What we got left to do here now? should be Pakistan and the U.S. I believe. Pakistan's numbers have actually been looking pretty good. Uh, okay, so let's take a look at Pakistan here. Pakistan currently averaging about 1,174 cases per day and about 25 deaths per day. So let's just take a look at some numbers here. Here's Pakistan's current numbers by day, the cases by day, and along with the it's called a low res fitted curve. Uh, a long decline here beginning in July all the way down to September. But now it appears that these are starting to climb back up here a little bit, but they're still less than, say, 1,250 per day as far as cases. Deaths are staying below 50 still, even below 25, which is extremely good news for them. So this is the current spike beginning in June. You can see it right here. Their spike began. Interesting enough, they only had one spike. That's what you saw earlier back up here. I mean, this is the only spike that they had. So we're looking at these numbers right here now. And you can see a slight trend upward here. This would be 1,000. So you can see it's trending towards 750 per day. Deaths you can see again climbing upward a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's take a look at weekly deaths, weekly cases and deaths. Weekly case, you can see they're starting to trend back up towards 5,000 a week. They had maybe 4,000 last week. Here's 10, here's 5, here's 4 maybe. This would be 125. So you can see that the weekly deaths are still below 125. Let's take a quick look at cases, monthly cases. You can see June was clearly the biggest spike, followed by July. And it's hard to say. They could catch August numbers, although not necessarily. Uh, for cases, once again, you can see that there's a chance that the September deaths may finish below August, which would be fantastic news for them. Okay. All right. So let's update the database. Okay, I think we're going to our final report, which should be which should of course be the U.S. Okay, U.S. battle. Let's see if the cases and deaths have resumed their decline after 1 week. After 1 week. Okay, so October the 28th, or February 28th was the first reported death. Okay, so what this is telling us is we are currently averaging 964 deaths, if that's correct. We are averaging, say, 33,000 cases a day. So let's take a look at the plot of cases. The April spike, a huge spike, as you can see, beginning in June. But even with this volatility, the trend, again, this is the Loess, Loess, Lowess curve. Google that if you don't know what it means. My understanding is vague. I mean, what I'm looking at here is the trend. You know, the old saying in the stock market, the trend is your friend. And despite this volatility, the cases are still trending downward. But we can see we had two spikes in a row here now. Deaths uh, are still showing a little bit of a trend down. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the June numbers here. So here you can see the numbers for the current spike, which began in June. You can see that you can see some volatility here. What this tends to indicate to me is that the cases have kind of leveled out within a certain range. Uh, so this is 30,000 up to 50,000. So it appears that the cases are averaging 30 to 50,000 per day right now. We got this volatility, and I'm just not sure what that's worth, what that's good for. Here you can see, here's the peak. While there's volatility up and down here, the numbers are still declining. The peaks are still staying below here. So there does appear to be. So we had a weekly peak back here, which is a little higher than the previous weeks. But it looks here as if these numbers are now starting to trend back downwards. Let me just go and save these charts here to save daily deaths. Okay, deaths decline. You can see the death is still in a downward trend. Let's take a look at deaths. Here's last week's spike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is last week was the first time in 7 weeks we actually saw a little bit of a decline in cases, but still it's not that big of a decline. It's well below the peaks, and it's well below these numbers here. Okay, that's still too soon to tell this week. We'll go and save both of these. Uh, okay, I'll post these to Facebook and a couple other things. So now let's take a look at the monthly numbers. September is still below August, which is extremely good news. A week to go, and deaths are still below August, which is extremely good news. We could still finish below. We have a good chance of, and with cases and deaths, finish below the August numbers, the September numbers to finish below the August numbers, maybe even the July numbers, maybe even the June number. Maybe deaths and cases will finish below, all the, the June, July, and August numbers. Which remains to be seen. Okay, so we run the report one more time. Okay. So this concludes the daily reports. I checked the chat and no one seems to have any requests for any particular states. So I'll conclude the daily reports. I hope you. But here, okay, but here's my. I don't want to leave without giving you a word of encouragement. Okay, if you're in the U.S., the message is this: the sacrifices that you are being asked to make and I'm being asked to make, whether it's wearing masks, social distancing, self-isolation, you can see from the numbers it is making a difference. But cases and deaths are continuing to decline. Don't get confused by a 1 week spike in the numbers. The numbers are well below the highest numbers. The sacrifices you are making are making a difference, a positive difference. Okay. Thanks so much for stopping by on this live stream, and we'll catch you maybe later on today, if not till tomorrow. Thanks so much.